welcome to the Ident Review, the show where we have a good look and chat about the various television idents that we've come to know and love over the years. And for this instalment, we'll be taking a look at a selection of BBC2 idents, specifically from the iconic and varied set used from 1991 to 2001. When BBC2 changed up its main image in 1991, it proved extremely popular. Not only were the types of programming proving to be a hit with audiences, but the idents that preceded them were fast becoming a part of the public consciousness. We've covered some idents from this era before, and for this episode we will take a look at 3 idents from the earlier days of this era. Let's start with the very first one, that showcased the channel's new look, and that is of course, paint. You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in the UK who grew up in the 1990s or early 2000s who doesn't at least remember this ident. It was one of the most popular to circulate on BBC2, and I would argue it's clear to see why. The splash of paint across the central two is quite engaging to watch. It's one of those satisfying experiences you get from watching something simple. I love how it doesn't completely cover it either, just how you get this splash of colour across an otherwise dull symbol. It's currently in circulation again on BBC2, so if you fancy some nostalgia, you needn't do much, but turn the channel to get your fix. Moving on, let's take a look at another launch ident, Neon. Oh, that sound is hard to forget, isn't it? This is another very standout and iconic ident from this era. I seem to remember it being placed before a lot of kids' programs, but it was used for all sorts really. The soundtrack is simple but very effective, as its main design is to match the visuals going on screen, and this piece of music was used for various other 2 idents as well. The 2 itself is made up of several lights being flashed on and off. You never see all of them on to form the full 2, which I think is a little bit disappointing, as a full illuminated 2 I think would have been pretty cool. But nevertheless, another simple yet very infectious ident that many millions remember from the era. Now finally, to close off this episode, let's take a look at an ident that debuted in 1992. Optics. Another soothing one to watch. The main crux of the 2 here is made up of optical fibres, which fluctuate and move around the screen. Eventually they slow to form the 2 we all know so well. This one I always thought was really cool, and as a kid would make me think that something good was about to hit the screen. Despite not being present at the launch of the ident set, this ident was again one of the more popular ones used throughout the 1990s, and one that many people do remember. Even if it's just saying, oh yeah, it's the one with the coloured dots flowing about, isn't it? A gorgeous ident to close us out today. I don't think much more needs to be said about this era of idents that isn't already known. It's one of the most beloved and iconic sets out there, not just in British television, but all television history. And I can't wait to check out some more with you in some future episodes. And so we've come to the end, but before we go, the final words from our broadcaster. That was all this week for this instalment of the Ident Review. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and we hope that you'll tune in next week. The summer break is still in effect, and as such, for programs next week, you can tune into the Now Review and the Ident Review later in the week, should time allow. But until then, have a good week, and we hope that you'll join us again soon. Good night.